What's good, y'all? WBO lineal champ Teofimo Lopez is in action tonight against Jamaine Ortiz. Decent scrap, you know. Jamaine Ortiz put in that work against Loma. A lot of people felt like he was robbed in that fight, but me, I had it scored a draw. I think it was fair. But it was a good performance by Jamaine Ortiz, who burst on the scene after that performance. But I knew Jamaine Ortiz like a fight before that when he fought Jamel Herring, because after Jamel Herring lost to Shakur Stevenson, Top Rank had gave Jamel Herring another path to another title, and he had to fight Jamaine Ortiz. And I had betted light on that fight. Jamel Herring was an underdog. I'm like, who is this dude, man? And Jamaine Ortiz put in solid work against Jamel Herring, winning the decision in that one. So Jamaine Ortiz, these past couple years, has been, slowly putting himself in that mix with these top fighters. And Teofimo Lopez coming off the win with Josh Taylor. Well, that was about 8 months ago. He looked it real sharp in that fight. Teofimo Lopez, he's been doing good. He's got a decent resume, real good resume. Top resume out of all the young up and coming stars. It's just a shame that he's not that big. He's not pay-per-view or nothing like that, because he does accomplish stuff in the ring, and he talks shit out of the ring, try to show charisma and stuff, but I just don't know. He make a lot of people don't like him, I guess. So he's just not a star. But at least he's fighting good competition in the ring. So Jamaine Ortiz, I think it's going to be a tough fight tonight, but I'm going to have to lean Teofimo because the inexperience, Jamaine Ortiz, that's what pretty much lost him the Lomachenko fight, gassing out towards the end. He had never been 12 before. And even after that fight, I think he fought a 10-rounder. Like, why wouldn't you keep fighting 12-round fights? So that just right there, that points to a gas tank issue. But Teofimo does struggle with movers, so Jamaine Ortiz has a chance in this fight. Jamaine can box, got a good jab, right hand. I could see him frustrating Tio, but how long would it last? And Jamaine Ortiz, he's moving up to 140. This is his first fight at 142. So that's why I had to lean towards Teofimo Lopez. But Jamaine got a shot, though. I wouldn't be surprised. But if I don't see him knocking Teofimo out. But if I can see that bet. I don't know. Maybe he could school Teofimo, but it's gonna be hard for him to get that decision. But Teofimo Lopez, he's been calling out Bud Crawford for the past month and a half. He's been calling him out, kind of heavy too. He's been saying Bud never fought nobody. Everybody Bud fought has had an injury, a lesser version of themselves. He calling Bud a cherry picker. He's saying that Bud's old. He can't handle him. He can move up to welterweight and knock Bud off for once and for all. And I kind of, you know, I like to see people calling out Bud Crawford, because Bud, nobody calls out Bud like that. And it's an interesting fight because as you would expect Bud to knock Teofimo out, but we seen Teofimo in two underdog fights where he rose to the occasion and kind of dominated. I think he beat Lomachenko 8-4, and he beat Josh Taylor in his last fight 9-3. Two fights that he was a slight underdog. He was a bigger underdog against Lomachenko than he was against Josh Taylor, but that's just maybe this fight would be better than I expect. Maybe he could give Bud a little run, but an early prediction that fight was to happen. I got Bud by knockout, for sure. But you know, uh, Teofimo, he's showing good heart if he was to really go after Bud Crawford, which he could because that WBO, he's the WBO champ, and they help you get the fight in the next division up if you move up. So that WBO champ, which would be Bud, maybe he could get him mandated to fight him. You know, who would Bud rather fight, Teofimo Lopez or Jamaine Ennis? That's an interesting. Teofimo has a little more of a name than Boots Ennis, so maybe more casuals would watch that. But as far as for the hardcores and for legacy, Bud fighting Jamaine Ennis, he'll get more like hardcore credit from the hardcore fans. But I can't lie, he probably more casuals will watch the Teofimo Lopez fight, and he'll make more money. So that's probably the direction that he'll probably go in. And Bud, I heard Bud was at the weigh-in, so he's acknowledging Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo, uh, he talked shit about Bud about 5 times. Bud only tweeted at him once, saying how he talks shit on the internet, but when he see him in person, he never got nothing to say. Like he tweeted at him once. But I don't know how much interest in the fight that Bud has. He's never mentioned him. Nobody on Bud's team has mentioned Teofimo Lopez as a potential fight for Bud. If that's why if Teofimo gets past Jamaine Ortiz, he has to be about what he's talking about. And at times he's shown with, for instance, Devin Haney, he showed that he's not what he's talking about. So maybe this might be publicity to sell this fight, calling out Bud this savagely. You know what I mean? Because if you really want to fight with him, you got to show behind the scenes that you want. You got to push for Bob Arum to send a contract. You got to press the WBO to get you mandated. We got to see how much Teofimo wants to fight. But, if that was to get made, it'll be for sure pay-per-view. I probably would buy that because Bud's #1 pound for pound. Teofimo, he's got a real good resume and some good experience as a young fighter going into the ring with Bud Crawford. Maybe he is ready. That's a fight that would be worth watching. But let's see what goes on with Teofimo and Jamaine Ortiz tonight. This is a good matchup. I like this matchup.